Hello there, Jedi, Sith, scoundrels, and everything in between. May the 4th be with you. Happy Star Wars Day from myself and everybody else within the Nerd Academy podcast network. We're here with a special mini episode of Knights of the Nerd Republic for you guys. As you know, we compiled all of us talking about our favorite Star Wars movies to celebrate May the 4th. Star Wars means so much to every single one of its fans across the world, across the galaxy, as it were. And we're honored to get to share with all of you guys how we feel about this amazing, amazing franchise, this amazing story, this modern mythology that is Star Wars. Everybody on the team got to talk about their favorite Star Wars movies. It was really fun getting to listen to everybody coming from a different place. Devin, who hasn't actually seen all of the Star Wars movies yet, that's something he's working on. That's something we're going to be tackling together. All the way up to Alexis, who's more of a newer to being a hardcore fan than the rest of us. Everything from that spectrum up to the people who eat, breathe, live Star Wars. There's a nice gradient here because Star Wars fans come in all shapes and sizes. We all have a different Star Wars story, and it just makes me very happy that we all get to share in this fandom, this story, in all of these very, 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 very different ways. So without further ado, I'm going to pitch to some of my lovely co-hosts to talk about that galaxy far, far away, and you'll be hearing from myself and the Consular about our favorite Star Wars movie at the end. Disclaimer, we didn't mean to give The Last Jedi the most screen time, but we shared it, so it turned into a little bit more of a conversation. So that one is a little bit longer, but I promise it's not because of biased reasons. Or maybe it is.
Hello there, this is Joel the Sentinel Bassenbacon, finally coming in for an episode after a very long stint away. I mean, granted, for you guys, you get to hear me at the beginning of every episode, but that being said, I was asked to come on and say a few words about what I consider to be my favorite, or possibly the best, Star Wars film. Now, when I first thought of this question, the first thing that came to mind was not the sequel trilogy. Not that I have an opinion. I mean, I do have an opinion about the matter, but what I'm trying to say is that originally when I was asked the question, all I could think of is, okay, of the 6, I completely forgot of the sequels, and then all of the extra ones like Rogue One, and of course Han Solo, or the Solo movie. So I'm gonna start off with talking about the first 6, because that's what I grew up on. That's what I feel I have the most ability to speak in regards to. So I'm just gonna go out and say it. I know it's a hot take for so many, but I grew up on the prequels, and I have a greater liking toward the sequels than I do the original trilogy. I'm not saying that the original trilogy isn't amazing in its own right, and in many ways is much better than the the prequels when it comes to the writing and the script. So I'm gonna say that my favorite episode has got to be Revenge of the Sith, episode 3, for sure. And however, I have a lot of things that I don't like about all the movies. That sounds horrible. I have a lot of opinions that I could go on for days about why I don't like certain episodes of Star Wars. But the reasons why I love Revenge of the Sith so much, and I think it speaks to my inner ninja, if you will, my inner desire to be a knight, or not just a Jedi Knight, a knight, and a warrior in some way, in some sense, and also the meditative, centered perspective of the Jedi, and so I just love the choreography, especially of course, in the infamous battle between Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the most transformative and the precipice of the story up until the transition to Darth Vader, and really what makes him who he is. There's so much exposition into the real character development of Darth Vader, and Jared would love me saying this. Darth Vader is, I think, in many ways, underappreciated as a villain, but also very appreciated by those who pay attention and who actually like film. And of all the characters in Star Wars, I think Darth Vader has one of the greatest story arcs. And Jared has never heard me say that before, so I just wait for his reaction on this. But yeah, so Revenge of the Sith, definitely my favorite. Choreography, amazing. Storyline, Hayden Christensen. That's one of my biggest things with the prequels in general is there's something about the writing that I just feel could have been just a little bit better. Specifically, no fault necessarily to Hayden Christensen himself, but maybe the directing could have been a little bit better with regards to Hayden Christensen and how he portrays Anakin Skywalker. It just kind of felt very flat to me. So we'll just have to take it as it is, though, and appreciate that it is a wonderful action-packed episode of thrill and energy and sword fighting. Yes, I said sword fighting. And just amazing. And when I think of Star Wars, I think of Revenge of the Sith. So thanks for letting me call in and give my input. I hope that I didn't take up too much of your time today, and see you soon.
Hello, viewers and listeners of TNAP, Nights, Campus Life, and every other show that we have on the Nerd Academy podcast. This is Connor, otherwise known as the Lore Keeper from the shows. As many of you know through our social media announcements or just word of mouth, we're doing a submission where every TNAP member talks about their favorite Star Wars movie for May 4th. And this is my submission. As some of you already know, my favorite Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones. Yes, that movie. And I want to preface by saying I realize and I understand why many people don't like it. However, it's my favorite, and I'll just give you a short list of why. First reason being, just the first 40 minutes of it are some of just the most pulpy, aesthetically pleasing, and just invigorating 40 minutes in any Star Wars movie. I don't know, there's just something about Anakin and Obi-Wan's dynamic, about wrestling with how to deal with Padme's would-be murderer, and just how to go about that, with Anakin trying to be very, no hold barred, and Obi-Wan's like, let's rein this in, we gotta do what the council does. Just seeing that, the chase sequence with Zam Wessel, just the seeing the Coruscant nightlife, and just Coruscant at night, it's just, there's something so pulpy and just aesthetically pleasing about it. Another cool part of the movie, for me at least, is seeing Anakin's arc of dealing with his emotions and darkness and trying to grapple with that amidst trying to be a Jedi. And my favorite line, I think, that just sums up Anakin's entire arc is, I'm a Jedi, I know I'm better than this. It's also really cool seeing Dexter Jetster, would so get a drink with that guy, and the neo-noir murder mystery subplot with Kamino, the clones, and Obi-Wan, and just the cherry on top, really, Geonosis, Just that entire planet is so cool. I love seeing it, exploring Clone Wars more and Rebels, but just its foundation in Attack of the Clones with the arena battle and the battle going to the fields and just the duel between Anakin, Obi-Wan, Dooku, and Yoda. It's absolutely incredible. It's such a fun, comforting Star Wars movie to me, and that's why it'll pretty much always be my favorite Star Wars movie, for me at least. So, would love to hear your guys' favorite movies and just the reasons why, and just, that's all. May the 4th be with you.
Hello there, peoples, guests, watchers of the Nerd Academy podcast. Today I'm going to discuss my favorite Star Wars movie, which is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I think that the movie is wonderful because it talks about such great things like love, friendship, betrayal, empires falling, stuff like that. I think that the music in that movie was utterly the best. It was the best ever. The coolest. That's where John Williams peaked in his cinematic abilities. You know, like what gets better than that? What gets better than the throne room fight in, not the throne room fight, the Mustafar fight going alongside of the Senate floor chamber fight? What's better than that? Tell me what's better. I think that movie can tell us a lot about too what to do, what we should try to do during this present time, during this coronavirus. We can see Obi-Wan's example of being selfless, and that's what we should be doing during this time, the coronavirus, trying to be selfless. We see Obi-Wan literally going to Tatooine and looking after Luke for 19 years. Like, that's awesome. So selfless. But yeah, that movie was a really formative thing in my life, I guess. That sticks with you. That will never leave me. And I never want it to leave me, because it's the best thing ever. But yeah. Episode 3 is wonderful, and I love it, and it's my favorite. Peace.
Hey everybody, this is Pete Fletcher from Around the Galaxy, the Star Wars fan talk show. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about my favorite Star Wars movie. You can follow me on Twitter at ATGcast, or you can check out the show and learn more about us at our brand new website, atgcast.com. So I was asked to talk about my favorite Star Wars movie, and it's almost cliched, but it's a cliche for a reason, and that film is The Empire Strikes Back. It is my favorite of all the Star Wars films. And why is that? Well, there's really 3 primary reasons for that to me. Number 1 is it expanded the story, right? It started at episode 5. It brought us right into the middle of the story. Before The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars was just Star Wars. It wasn't episode 4, A New Hope, yet, until The Empire Strikes Back came out. So we were expanding on the story. We realized we were in the middle of a story, and then we were sort of shown that we were absolutely in the middle of a story by ending this film on a cliffhanger. The other thing about The Empire Strikes Back that's critical is that it expanded the lore. It was the first time we saw new force powers in action. We were introduced to the Emperor, and we started to learn a little bit about the Jedi mythology. And now I'm not saying that without The Empire Strikes Back we wouldn't have gotten there, but The Empire Strikes Back is responsible for bringing us that piece of the Star Wars story. Thirdly, it expanded the universe. The Star Wars A New Hope essentially had 2.5 locations. We had Tatooine and we had the Death Star. And yes, we had a little bit of the fourth moon of Yavin. But, those were the 3 locations we saw. But The Empire Strikes Back really excelled at helping us get a sense for how large this universe really is. We got 3 brand new and very different locations with Dagobah and Hoth and Bespin. And so we really started to get a real sense as to, how big the Star Wars galaxy is, this galaxy far, far away. But, I can sum up why I love The Empire Strikes Back with this very simple and concise list. Are you ready? Here we go. Probe droids, ice planet, tauntauns, wampas, force pull, force ghost, I'd just as soon kiss a Wookiee, laugh it up, fuzzball, snow speeders, the Imperial March, Ozzel, Veers, Piet, Walkers, Chicken Walkers, the Ion Cannon, Snowtroopers, Hurry Up Goldenrod, Asteroids, Dagobah, R2 swallowed by a beast, Yoda, Emperor, You Will Be, Space Slug, IG-88, Forlom, Zuckuss, Bosk, Dengar, Boba Fett, Imperial Procedure, Slave One, Darkside Cave, Cloud City, Lando, Lobot, Ugnaughts, Having trouble with your droid? There is another. We would be honored if you would join us. I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. Wilro Hood, he's no good to me dead. I love you, I know. Luke, don't, it's a trap. The Force is with you, young Skywalker, but you are not a Jedi yet. You'll find I'm full of surprises. All too easy. Impressive. Most impressive. No, I am your father. That list sums up why The Empire Strikes Back is the greatest of all the Star Wars films.
Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Levi, but you probably already know that if you're watching this. So, apparently we are talking about our favorite movies, our favorite Star Wars movies, in, celebration of May the 4th, that everyone loves to, throw a big hoedown for. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why I believe Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is my favorite movie. So, first and foremost, right, it happens during the Clone Wars. I am very much a fan of the Clone Wars era, not so much Galactic Civil War era. It could just have to do with, what I grew up with. I was just always more intimate with the people from the Clone Wars, rather than the OG trilogy. So, might be some bias there, who knows. I think it's my favorite for a couple reasons. First and foremost, soundtrack. Beautiful work. What's his name? Sorry, let me turn that off here. I think John Williams was born to create Episode 3's soundtrack. Gives me chills. The March to the Jedi Temple. Oh, I hum that. It gives me a power trip, And then I always like a good "the villain wins" movie. Right? That's Avengers: Infinity War. Love that movie. So some of you might be wondering, well, why doesn't he like Episode 5? Answer is I don't know. I don't know why. It's not my favorite, but again, could be, just because it's dated, because I didn't grow up with those characters, which I guess is another reason I already touched on for why I like Episode 3 so much. I grew up with these characters, and they were fleshed out by the TV show Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And so when I go back and watch Episode 3, I have all of that knowledge in mind when, I'm going into another rewatch. Now, I guess you could call me a bit of a hypocrite right now, because I do make fun of Jared and certain other people on this podcast for liking The Last Jedi so much, and just because they have knowledge about what's in the novels. But it's all in good fun mostly. And then, I like, this is my last reason, I like Episode 3 so much because it wraps everything up, right, in a neat little package. We finally get all the answers for why things are the way they are in the original trilogy. We understand the fall of Anakin Skywalker, the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker, and how being the chosen one kind of ruined his life, and turned him into Darth Vader. And because of these prequels, I actually like Darth Vader more now than before I watched them, because he's not just evil dude who turns good for some reason. We actually have all the information we need now to really understand why he does the things he does in the original trilogy. So, to sum up, that is why I really like Episode 3. I can go on more formally, but we're keeping this to about 5 minutes, so I'm going to end there. Great soundtrack. Ties everything up into a neat little bundle. It involves characters that I am familiar with, and I didn't even mention the choreography. It's ridiculous at times, but I like a good glow stick fight as much as the next guy. So that is it.
Hey everybody, Nick here from Podcast of the Whills. My favorite Star Wars movie, and I would even say my favorite movie of all time, has been Empire Strikes Back for pretty much my whole life. While Empire was not the first Star Wars movie that I saw, it was always the movie that resonated with me the most. It's the one that growing up I wanted to watch the most. It was the one that as I've gotten older has endeared itself to me in a lot of different ways. Early on, the things that I loved about Empire were the Hoth scene. You start off with a snow planet. I lived in Illinois when I was a little kid, and we had snow, but we didn't have snow like Hoth. And to be perfectly honest, it made snow look cool. It made it look like, ooh, I want to go there. I want to go to these dangerous areas. The snow speeders and those scenes was some of the best battles, even to this day, in Star Wars. And the walkers and everything about the Hoth battle, trying to get out of the base, Han and Leia trying to escape, Vader coming in at the end. Everything about the Hoth scenes was just, not to use a pun, but it was cool. It was so fun. It was so exciting and adventurous. And from what we had seen in Star Wars, it was completely different. We didn't get anything like that in the first movie. So already the movie starts off in this crazy new location, something really exciting. Then you move from there to space battles. You have the Exogorth, and you have Han and Leia and the droids and Chewie inside the asteroid field running from the Empire. You have Luke training to be a Jedi and finally going to meet who this mysterious Master Yoda is, dashing our expectations of who this great Jedi Master and trainer was going to be. But we have those human moments of Luke facing failure, facing himself, his insecurities, his worries about his friends. And while those didn't resonate with me probably nearly as much as a kid, those were the things that kind of dug their way into my brain as I got older, as I paid attention to the other Star Wars movies. But that wasn't it. Then we get Bespin. We get this cool other new location. We get this other cool new space. We get Lando Calrissian. We get Boba Fett. We get these other characters that expand the lore. But I'll say the image, I would say when I think of Star Wars, I think of two images. I think of the binary sunset, and I think of the shot of Luke and Vader crossing lightsabers where they're backlit, and it's basically their shadows at the top of those steps. And I always carry that image with me, as that's what Star Wars looks like. And those fights, the battle between Luke and Darth Vader, and he finds out that news right before he falls. And then the way it ends. And I know that this is something that gets talked about on every podcast and every Star Wars critique of any kind, but it didn't have a happy ending. And I will say, as a kid, that stood out to me. Like, it wasn't, I left the movie and I wasn't disappointed that it didn't have a happy ending, but I wanted to know what was next. Like, it truly left me wanting more. It left me wanting to know, well, where are Lando and Chewie going? I know they said they're going after Han, but Luke's just here and he's supposed to be the hero. It was something that we hadn't gotten before in most of our movies. We weren't left with, that kind of cliffhanger in a movie. That was reserved for those spaghetti westerns and Saturday morning TV, shows and serials, old Batman. And so to get that in a movie not only was groundbreaking, and I think probably daring from a marketing standpoint, because what if people didn't come back to find out how it ended? What if they decided, I didn't like that, I'm done? And that isn't what happened. Of course, we get more stories and more movies. But for me, with Empire, those were the things that stood out. These vastly different environments that we got in the first movie. The adventure, to me, it's one of the most adventurous movies in all of Star Wars because of all the things that are happening. There's so much that goes on. But at the core of it, there's an emotional story. There's a family and friends connection. There's the learning of your past and figuring out who you are in the face of really difficult times. In the middle of a lightsaber battle, when your hand's been cut off, you find out the bad guy that we all fear is my dad. Like, that shook Luke to his core, and it became a part of who Luke Skywalker becomes, who the legend of Luke Skywalker becomes. And of course, it informs the story going forward through the rest of the movie. So Empire Strikes Back is absolutely my favorite Star Wars movie. And as I've also said, I think it's probably my favorite movie of all time.
Hey guys, it's Spence the Mando, And I have to say, my favorite Star Wars movie is Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. When I was a kid, it was the most exciting of the original trilogy to me, and it stuck with me since that time. I really love the rescue scene at the beginning of the movie on Tatooine. I always thought that entire sequence was really cool. I really like Luke Skywalker's outfit and him having a green lightsaber, and I love the space battle at the end. It is big enough that it seems awesome, but it's like not so big that it seems just totally bizarre, like in The Rise of Skywalker. It's just like it's that perfect size of space battle where it's enormous. And I love the part when the Super Star Destroyer crashes down into the Death Star like a knife through butter. It is awesome. I love it. But I think more so than any of the other movies, Return of the Jedi to me has that sense that, you know, the good has triumphed over the evil. More than any of the other movies, it seems like that to me, and it seems very final. It seems very hopeful. The fact that the Emperor, Darth Vader, is gone despite him being redeemed at the end, and the Death Star is gone. The Imperial fleet is destroyed, and you know, all across the galaxy, you see people rejoicing. You see them celebrating the fact that the Empire has fallen, and freedom and hope can be back in the galaxy. The Ewoks are cute. You gotta love those Ewoks. The whole Endor sequence is just so awesome. I think the setting and the art design in that movie are just really well done. And the final confrontation in the throne room is just so electrifying to me. No pun intended there. But it gets me so excited to watch it every time. And seeing Luke have that inner conflict and see him being tugged so hard in the direction of turning to the dark side, but doing it to save his friends, and that keeps him grounded, and seeing him finally make that decision to throw away his saber and say, no, I am a light sider and I'm not going to fight you because that's exactly what you want. And it's a death sentence for him, but he's willing to make that choice. He says, I'd rather die a hero than see myself become a villain, as Christopher Nolan would put it. So that's why I love Return of the Jedi the best. And if you agree, that's awesome. And I'm glad that you see things the same way. But if you have other favorites, it's hard to choose, but I have to go with Episode 6. Thanks, guys.
What's going on, Nerd Academy? As you know, May has May the 4th in it. So on Movie Club, we are going to be doing the first Star Wars trilogy, and subsequently each May after that. Well, we got the next 3 Mays booked, to put it politely. And the reason for the video, we're talking about our favorite Star Wars film. So, to be honest, I haven't seen all the Star Wars films. And Jared's gonna roast me on that because he already has been. So I haven't seen all of them, so I don't have a big army to choose from. But right now, it's definitely between episodes 3 and 4. And that's... Oh no. 3 and 7. Yeah. Force Awakens and Episode 3. And it's really just because, like, I like the Skywalker story. I like being able to see, like, Hayden Christensen, like, fill out the arc of him becoming Vader. So, like, the whole movie for me, even though it was like a CGI fest and like kind of alright, I had so much fun watching it. I remember being like in the big IMAX theater, just like seeing that movie, probably like 6 years old, and it was like one of the coolest things ever, and I'm definitely not gonna forget it. And then with The Force Awakens, I really just went with some friends in like 2015, still pretty casual about it, always more into comic books than like the Star Wars universe. But when I saw Force Awakens, just like, oh, what? It was like a total experience, and I know I've heard that it's like a complete rip-off-ish from A New Hope, which I'm interested to see in A New Hope whenever we watch it in like 8 days. So I'm interested to see about that, but treating it without seeing A New Hope, The Force Awakens was so much fun. Like picking up with Rey and Finn and like these awesome characters, it felt like a strong start to what I knew was going to be a new trilogy. So going off of that, and I don't know, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker were like, they didn't hit home for me. And that might be because I need to see the original trilogy. And I plan on doing so, trust me. But for right now, those are definitely my two favorite Star Wars movies. Let us know what you think and send it in to the nerdacademypod@gmail.com. Cannot wait to bring you guys more comment, and don't forget to join the Patreon if you haven't already to get our episodes a week early. Thanks guys, send in your submissions and I will see you soon. Bye.
The Nerd Academy. I'm glad I can be your stand-up professor currently. I will say one thing. My favorite Star Wars movie right now, at this moment in my life, is The Phantom Menace. Turmoils engulf the galaxy. Trade routes outlying star systems in dispute. Hoping to resolve the matter with a blockade of deadly battleships, the greedy Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo. While the Congress of the Republic endlessly debates this alarming chain of events, the Supreme Chancellor dispatched 2 Jedi Knights, the guardians of peace and justice, to the galactic. I was so close to getting it. I had memorized it this week. Boys, gals, everyone listening, truly the beginning. There's nothing better than that. You've got so much to enjoy. You've got quirky lines, really clever moments, and huge thematic things that we can all interpret and take in for our own, that we will pretty much begin to unfold years and years from now. You know, it's not all there yet. They're still applying this themes, and it's beautiful. I don't know, and who's to say that Jar Jar's one of the best. So remember to stay Bombad.
So I got into Star Wars via a video game, and then was like, well, I gotta watch the movies now. And being 12 years old in whatever the late 2000s was like, yes, the perfect way to watch the greatest film franchise of all time in parts on YouTube at 180p. And that's how I watched 5 of the 6 original Star Wars movies, except for Revenge of the Sith, because we found it on DVD at Giant Eagle the week I was watching them. And I was like, Mom, you gotta buy me this movie. I'm really into Star Wars right now. Please just get me this movie. And then I watched it on repeat for like a year. I watched this movie so many times. I watched all the behind the scenes on the DVD on loop. Like I would watch the movie, trade the disc out, watch all of the behind the scenes, trade the disc out again, watch the movie. I just did that over and over again for several months. And I think it might be because the last lightsaber fight reminded me of anime, and I really like anime. So, and it has a lot of the best one-liners. With an honorable mention because of my name. We got there. Because of my name to Force Awakens, because it has my favorite character in Star Wars in it, because I look a bit like him. And my favorite opening.
It's more than a bit, you handsome prick.
I do love me the opening of Force Awakens, because I think it's the best opening in the franchise. And if it wasn't for the fact that I have such fond memories of watching this on loop, I think my favorite would be Force Awakens. But I love me some Revenge of the Sith. That it? Can I hit stop?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I don't want to.
I'll let you make up your mind on that one.
All right. Did anyone say Clone Wars?
No one said the Clone Wars movie, but Connor said Attack of the Clones.
No one was brave. I mean, granted, I haven't. That's a lie. I have watched the movie.
Hello there, and welcome back to the more cultured side of this special episode. Funny little piece of background info. I had a conversation with Lexi where I was trying to figure out which movie she was going to pick, because I knew you were stuck between this masterpiece and The Force Awakens, and I knew I was going with this one. So you and I, being smart cookies, went, well, we'll just do it together.
Might as well.
Right.
Well.
You know, have the two principal Raylos on the team go for the Raylo movie. I've not made it a secret that this is my favorite, but I talk about it all the time. So I'll let Lexi start in part here.
So, okay. You know I love the originals. You know I love all of them, even, creepy, back-touchy ones. And I was trying to think if I should choose one of the first ones I've ever seen, like as a kid, right? And I can't remember which ones, because as a Star Wars fan, shit on me all you want. I don't care. But I still forget the names of which movie goes where. Like, I forget. Like, you mentioned Revenge of the Sith, and I'm like, I can't remember which one that is. But I think I know. But not sure. But anyway, I was thinking of doing something like that, and then I thought, well, I need to pick the one that made me like a hardcore fan. Like, I was a passive fan before, whatever. I appreciated Star Wars. And then the character Rey came around, and I fell in love immediately. Like what Jared does with Kylo, I do with Rey, but on a more low-key way.
What, you don't have a giant mural dedicated to Rey on your leg?
No.
Oh. Okay.
But
I see.
that's why I was gonna pick Force Awakens. I was gonna pick Force Awakens because that's where we first meet Rey. That's where we first meet, Kylo and Poe and Finn and everybody, Rose. But with The Last Jedi, we see the growth. We see her become, like, she's starting to become a Skywalker, and I just love watching the progression and the moments between her and Kylo, their relationship blooming. It's just, I don't care if you are a Reylo or not. I really love it. And I get these little guys, which were my favorite. I think, although, Luke passes, I think personally his direction was a good direction that he went. But basically, I got to see Rey grow. She's becoming who she is, and not who she thought she was, but finding her own path. And it's nice seeing a strong female role. She's not a Mary Sue, so stop that. And I like her outfits in this one. I like her costumes, and I love Daisy Ridley. And
I stand by what I've said before, that the Jedi training outfit is her best one.
I like it a lot. I also like her little vest thing she got going on. I forget where that.
That's what she's wearing when she gets to Octo.
Yeah, but I have an attachment to Last Jedi, and that's thanks to this one here, Jared. But how many times did we see it?
Oh, Jesus.
9?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
9?
Yeah. That's a conservative estimate. There might be 1 or 2 extra showings on there.
Yeah, so I've always been a Star Wars fan, but Force Awakens and Last Jedi, mostly Last Jedi, really solidified my loving of these last 2 movies. I don't like.
Yeah, no, something you said there with the becoming who she is, not what she thinks she is supposed to be, or however you put that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that that's everybody's arc in this movie. And it's those stories that I really love is somebody like that specific brand of finding oneself, where you have to find yourself despite a pre-existing conception of what you're supposed to be. We get to see Rey learn truly what the Force is, what it means to be a Jedi. She witnesses firsthand the legendary Luke Skywalker fall from grace and lose his faith. And again, I've said this before, and I will say it a billion trillion times. As much fun as it is to kind of make fun of George Lucasisms, and as fun as it is to troll stuff like, you know, faster and more intense and maybe I went a little too far in a couple places. Star Wars is like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah.
And I implore anybody who has not seen the clip of him saying that to watch it, where he's talking about, you can see the echoes and how they form, and he's talking about Obi-Wan witnessing Qui-Gon's death will then be echoed back to us when Luke watches Obi-Wan die. And Rian Johnson beautifully continues the legacy of Luke being in Obi-Wan's shoes, where Luke becomes the master Jedi, the quintessential Jedi who still fails his student, who fails his order, and feels as though he needs to remove himself from the equation because it is him and it is the Jedi who are at fault for the cycle of death and violence. And it's hard to watch. And it is seeing Luke's restored faith in the Force and restored faith in the Jedi and what the Jedi can be. Not what they are, but what they can be. And just Luke's arc there, where again, it's what should he be? Well, he should be Superman with a lightsaber. That's not what we get. That's not what we should get. And I think it's far more interesting a narrative because we don't get that from Luke. Like Alexis said, Rey, you know, I need someone to show me my place in all this. That line, like that's her character in the movie. Like that's her character. And we see her pick her place. She doesn't need someone to show her place. She finds it on her own and chooses it. You know, Scotty from the Bombad cast, he talks all the time. I talk all the time about like the most Jedi to ever Jedi. And like Rey's right up there for him and for me. He's right up there with like Qui-Gon and Ahsoka for the most Jedi to ever Jedi. And it's because of what she does in this movie. It's about her approach to handling the situation with Kylo Ren. She doesn't want to give up on him. You know, she does all the right things. She puts her life on the line to try to pull him back from the dark side. That is the charge of a true Jedi. And she picks her place. Poe, you know, it goes in assumed. Hotshot pilot, you know, everybody's like, oh, he's this trilogy's Han Solo. No, it's not about him learning to be more selfless. It's about him learning that being a hero isn't dying in a blaze of glory. And Finn goes from, well, I freed myself, therefore I'm free. And he learns, no, we need to help fight for the freedom of the rest of the galaxy. He discovers his claim in this. Kylo Ren goes from discount Darth Vader to being this complex web of trauma and just being a product of one's own circumstances and environment, that there were just so many factors at play that he never had a chance. Like you the second you take a step back, you see exactly how we arrive at his fall to the dark side. And one of the most shocking moments in the Star Wars lore, and in my probably one of, if not my favorite moments in all of Star Wars, everybody expects with, you know, them in the throne room that that's going to be the moment where one of them is brutally injured and brutally maimed, because it's the middle movie of the franchise, and this is the movie where the hero loses their arm. That's what we learned from the last two trilogies, right? No. Kylo murders Snoke. He kills him in cold blood, like the bamf that he is, and Snoke's gone now. Everybody's putting all this stock in Snoke. That was another hard one to say. Everybody's betting on Snoke being the big bad. No, he's not. He's just another part of the machine. And there's just so many brave and bold decisions made with these characters. You know, Kylo Ren is he's my favorite. He is my favorite character, and he dethroned Vader, and it is because he is the product of Vader. And it's his relationship with Vader's legacy that is just so fascinating to me, and the echoes we see of it here. You know, I truly believe that Kylo Ren is what it would have looked like if Anakin had started on the dark side. You know, and trying to be at peace and conquer the idea that the light side is always clawing at him and always wanting to come out, because at his core, that's who Ben Solo is, and he has to fight to repress that. That makes him a more interesting villain. That it is not him fighting down his darkness and it turns him into a monster. It's the fact that he's trying so hard to be the villain when that's not who he is. And the way that Luke defends the Resistance and defends the galaxy in this act of Jedi pacifism, that is just again, it's the most Jedi shit ever. From the moment that Luke arrives, you know, put that in air quotes, the moment he arrives on Crate, there's not a single drop of blood spilled. From that moment forward, not a single another life lost, and it is because of that Jedi pacifism, of him using the Force for defense, not attack. That it's just, the movie's just so Star Wars. It understands those themes of self-discovery and family and loss and redemption and hope better than any other franchise or any other
and suppressing trauma.
Yeah.
From both Rey and Kylo both doing that for reasons, which I like the psychology of it too. But
that's such a huge factor. It's the fact that they're both so different, but share the same hurt. That both of them feel so ostracized and unwanted. And, you know, Rey is coming from the place of like, well, I never knew my family. They left me on Jakku, blah, blah, blah. You had a father that gave a damn about you. Or Ben's like, no, at least to him, my parents were terrified of me and my uncle tried to kill me. And the only people who wanted me was the crazy Sith Lord who only wants me because I can be used as a weapon. They come from such different backgrounds. They did in The Last Jedi, at least, until we found out that they're both descended from the Dark Lords of the Sith. But that's beside the point. That's not what we're talking about right now. There's parts of that movie that I love. It's May the 4th. We're going to be positive. We're going to be positive. There's parts of Rise of Skywalker that I love. At least I'm going to try to. I'm going to try to, at least. Because I can't praise Rise of Skywalker too long before I start shitting on it again.
Last Jedi, so many quotable and like funny moments, so many like awesome moments. That movie was, in my book, pretty perfect. I really loved Last Jedi. I'm not sure if there's really anything I would take out besides the gross shot of Luke drinking the milk, but you know.
No, I the only things I would truly change about The Last Jedi if I had my druthers are very minute things that are just so remarkably nitpicky that they're not worth mentioning anytime we have the conversation. But yeah, that's us. That's The Last Jedi. That's, in my opinion, and I think Lexi's, the perfect Star Wars movie, at least for now. You know, we got more coming. There'll be more Star Wars stories.
And
but
this is like, for me, it's not comparing it to the other ones. The first, 6, right? Yeah, 6. Because those are their own thing. And I don't like comparing the newer ones to the older ones, but in my humble opinion, the one that I relate to the most, the one that I have the most attachment to, the one that made me become more of a fan than I ever was before as a child or young adult, was Last Jedi.
And you saying that, and that's the last thing I want a cosign on that to be the last word of this section. That one of the reasons I love this so much is because I got to see one of my best friends fall completely down the rabbit hole because of it. It was the final nudge to being manically into Star Wars the way that everybody else in the network is, and you know, the whole social circle. Like it seeing somebody fall in love with Star Wars makes me happier than watching Star Wars. And I'm getting choked up thinking about it, because I know, because it was the same thing with my little sister, that she fell in love with Rey and she fell in love with this movie. And Star Wars is for everybody.
Badass females. That's why.
Yeah. But Star Wars is for everybody, and it's movies like this that prove that. And thank you, Rian Johnson. Please come back soon. We miss you. Goodbye. This video is only for Rian Johnson.